Rick Santorum was giving a speech in front of a very conservative organization known as Cornerstone, and he's kind of prepping people for his presidential bid, right? And of course, he runs on a very, very specific platform, the platform of family values. Now, hear what he has to say about men who father children with multiple women. Take a look.
A majority of children born out of wedlock are born to cohabitating couples. And what does Putnam say about these? They've studied them longitudinally. They never get married. I want to use that term. Never. Like 1 or 2% ever get married. And he compared it to when he was growing up in the 1950s. And when children were conceived out of wedlock, what happened in the 1950s? We all know what happened in the 1950s.
Yeah, man.
And here's the amazing thing. This is Putnam saying this. 80+% of those marriages succeeded. And children were raised in stable homes. Now, these fathers leave the home and not just father children with that particular woman, they father a child with another woman and another and another. We've created predators, sexual predators.
All right, so he refers to men who have fathered children from multiple women as sexual predators. Putnam, who is a legendary researcher, says that some of the things that he has written in his book were kind of taken out of context. In fact, he told BuzzFeed that Santorum appeared to be at times using statistics not garnered from his book and at times using them a little bit selectively to make his argument on marriage. Putnam added that he couldn't find the 80% statistic in his book, but said it could be true. He also said, I certainly don't, for sure, use the term sexual predators.
So let's go to that 80% number because it's a funny thing that Santorum made up. He said back in the 1950s, we knew two things happened. One, if you had a child out of wedlock, you knew what happened. He didn't finish the sentence.
What happened? What happened?
What happened was the kid was branded a bastard, and it was considered great shame, and he would be branded, in essence, in society forever. Now, the poor kid didn't do anything wrong, right? But everybody, they had a term for the kid more than they had for the parents. You bastard. That's where the word bastard comes from, right? Yeah, we got that kid back in the 1950s. We crushed his soul. Good for you. Okay, wow, you seem much more moral. Yeah. And then he's like, the other part of it was that people got married, and when they did, 80% of them stayed together, and it was a successful marriage. Now, first of all, he made up the number, as Putnam explains, right? Second of all, even if they did stay together, that doesn't mean it was a successful marriage.
Right.
That means that it's possible that one of them couldn't leave the marriage for one reason or another. Right. And a lot of those marriages were miserable.
A lot of women did not have the same type of financial independence that they do today. There was a lot more stigma involving divorce back then. Now it's a lot more acceptable. And also, I love it because whenever the presidential election is coming up, you get these Republicans who start obsessing over the issue of marriage. And marriage is the least of my concerns, right? But for some reason, they think marriage is the answer to everything, especially when it comes to the economy, right? So, no, let's not talk about fair taxes for the wealthy. Let's not talk about regulation so the banks don't screw us over and destroy our economy. Let's talk about something as minuscule as the family unit. I don't care about the family unit, okay? Just this idea that, hey, you know what, the economy really sucks and things are really bad for you, but all you need to do is find someone to marry and then, hey, dual income household, that's our solution. That's not a freaking solution to the economy. I'm so tired of that bullshit.
Yeah, they think if both of you are working your ass off, well, then you'll have a better chance of just surviving. Oh, aren't you merciful? Thank you so much. And this whole idea that guys who have sex with multiple women, and in his case, to be more specific, have children from multiple women, sexual predators. Do Americans really believe that? And by the way, that's never happened in world history before. Like guys having children with many different women. That sounds so unnatural.
Yeah.
That's actually exactly what is our natural state of being, whether you agree or disagree with it. Okay, but anyway, Anna, I am sure that there are no good Republicans who would have done anything like this because they're all so holy and moral. They're the party of family values.
Yeah, if I had 3 hours to do this show, then maybe I would be able to go through all the different Republican politicians who have fathered children by multiple women. But I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to mention some that really stuck out to me, especially with their shadiness. First of all, Newt Gingrich did not have children from multiple women. However, Newt Gingrich is a disgusting, loathsome human being. I didn't know how bad he was to his wives until I read about it. And I'm not going to get into it in detail right now. Just read about it. The way he cheated on his wives, the terrible things he said about them. Apparently, he married one of his former teachers when he was like really, really young. She was older than him. I think he was 19, she was 26. Later on, he said something like, oh, she's not young or pretty enough to be a president's wife.
He basically alluded to one of his wives that he was divorcing while she was in the hospital as an old used car.
Oh my God!
These are family values. Family values. Rush Limbaugh the other day was saying about how gay Americans are ruining marriage. He's been divorced 3 times. I'm pretty sure you ruined your own marriages.
Oh
Okay, but now let's go specifically to the Republicans who have fathered children from multiple women, people that Rick Santorum would call a sexual predator.
All right. Former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He of course, fathered a child with a mistress who was also his nanny.
Yeah, that's a little uncomfortable. Yep,
That
certainly happened.
Now, Scott Desjardins, he did not have children from multiple women, but he did impregnate his mistress twice, I believe, and forced her to have abortions.
Now, to be fair, he also forced his wife to have an abortion.
Right.
This is a Republican congressman from Tennessee who's the party of family values.
Yes. Now, another former representative in the House of Representatives, Vito Fossella from New York, actually had 3 kids with his wife, and then later it was discovered that he had a child with his mistress, another Republican. Okay?
Sexual predator.
Representative Dan Burton had 3 kids with his wife and 1 kid with his mistress.
Oh, interesting.
Senator Strom Thurmond, now this was quite a character, okay? When he was 66 years old, he married a very young woman, 22-year-old woman, okay, very attractive. They had 3 children together, but after he died, it turned out that a woman came forward and said, hey, Thurmond's actually my dad as well. And his family confirmed it, and it turned out that he had a mistress. He slept with another 22-year-old woman who was working for his family and impregnated her.
And she happened to be black. He ran on the segregationist ticket for president. Okay, he was one of the most racist men in America at the time, and he wound up having an illegitimate black child.
Yep.
But the Republicans would never be sexual predators, and they're the party of family values.
Yep. And my personal favorite, Ronald Reagan. Sexual predator. Had children with 2 different women.
Well, I can't believe Rick Santorum called Ronald the Gipper Reagan a sexual predator. Outraged! How dare he do this?